What's good? What's good? What's good, baby? It is your boy Truex, the Sports Junkie, and welcome to another episode of the Startem Sitem Fantasy Football Show, where I can help you with your fantasy football. Pardon me, I had to fix my camera. Of course, I got the homie in the building from the Bay Area right now. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe he should give y'all the fantasy updates, because right now I'm struggling in fantasy. My God, my teams are horrible. But I got the homie Q in the building.
Yo, what's good, man? Apologies for last week. We weren't able to give you guys a Startem Sitem show, but we back this week though, man. So week 7 in the NFL. I'm definitely looking forward with it. So far, man, it's been a good year for me in fantasy. So hopefully it continues. But yeah, I'm ready for what we got right now. So what's going on?
No doubt, no doubt. Well, y'all know how we get it popping. We get into top fives. We get into who's the upset of the week. We're gonna do who's we got some new things for y'all as well. We're gonna give y'all stud dozen, all that of the week. But we're gonna start with top 5. Skill. Who's your top 5 quarterbacks on the day?
Man, my top 5 is completely different. So coming at number 5 for me for today, I'm rolling with Sam Darnold at number 5. Last 2 games, Darnold's have been having a very disappointing game. He's going to MetLife Stadium, man, against the New York Giants, who just handicapped with a whole bunch of injuries. So I'm going with Sam Darnold, man, in this game. I'm going with Sam Darnold at number 5. He scored at least 20 fantasy points or more in his first 4 games, so I got him at number 5. Number 4, man, I'm going with Jameis Winston at number 4.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a total of 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. People talk about all this defensive player of the year nonsense. Don't like defensive player of the year to me, because he's looking pretty good, man. I mean, you know, big shoes to fill with Drew Brees, but I like what I seen from Jameis going against the Seahawks on Monday night. I got him at 4. Number 3 for me, he's probably has been one of the most disappointing quarterbacks. He was actually in the NBA Central top 15 quarterbacks for this year, and that's Ryan Tannehill. Chiefs defense, they did a pretty good job of holding Heineke to 11 fantasy points, but for the previous quarterbacks Kansas City has went up against, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, all scored more than 30 fantasy points. And I think Ryan Tannehill could pull that off, man. So I'm going to roll with him at number 3. Coming at number 2, from what I know, he is starting. I'm going with Tua.
Okay.
At 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. That's the only reason why I have him that high at 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons defense is pretty bad, so I like what I see in this matchup. So I got him at a strong number 2. And that number 1, my number 1 guy to start for quarterbacks, I am going with Matt Ryan at number 1, man. You know, obviously you got some great quarterbacks that's on the bye this week. You got Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert. Kirk Cousins probably would have been likely to start in a lot of leagues also, but I think Matt Ryan is a good start for this week. He scored at least 25 points in his last 25 games. He's averaging at least 25 in standard leagues. And he's going to take advantage in this game against Miami. Miami has allowed 25 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks this year. So, and you look at their defense also, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, um, um, they'll get them back, but I'm not sure how 100% they will be. Calvin Ridley will be a huge matchup in this game. So I'm taking Matt Ryan, the first guy to start, number one guy to start in my quarterbacks.
I'm not mad at your list at all. I think we have pretty much a lot of the same people except for one person. And my one person is coming in at number 5. I got Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow versus the Ravens. I know the Ravens have been great. They're only one loss this season. But I look at Joe Burrow and I said to myself, man, this offense is definitely clicking on all cylinders. And he knows the Ravens. It's not like he doesn't know them. He plays them twice a year. He sees them all the time. I think that he's going to have a decent game today. I'm not saying he's going to have a great game. Obviously, we don't put our elite quarterbacks out there. But I do think he's going to have a decent game if he wants to give the Bengals a chance to win the game today. So I'm going with Joe Burrow at 5. I would definitely start him over Jameis Winston if I had to, pick between those two. Coming in number 4, I got Derek Carr. Going up against Philadelphia. I don't think Philadelphia is that good. You hear the rumors right now that they may be trading for Deshaun Watson because I would have had Jalen Hurts. But I think that he's going to start to hear those rumbles, and that's unfortunate because he has played decent to me. And I wasn't the Jalen Hurts guy going into the season since he's been drafted, really. But he has played decent in my mind. The Eagles team is just very young, and they need more time to mature. But I am going with Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr and that offense is going to get some points up on the board today. So I'm going with Carr at 4. Coming at number 3, I got Ryan Tannehill. I'm going to just put this alert out there. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Between the Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. Julio Jones is active, which is definitely a plus for Ryan Tannehill. So I'm going with Ryan Tannehill at number 3. I expect him to have a decent game today. Coming at number 2, I hope this guy has a big monster game. Hell, I hope he's the stud of the week. I'm talking about Sam Darnold going up against the New York Giants. He's my quarterback in the MBS league. I had high hopes for him, but I'm even hearing rumbles that an outside shot of Deshaun Watson ended up in Carolina, and I'm not liking that at all. That's gonna hurt my fantasy team. So Sam Darnold, it's time to put your chips in the middle, man, and do your thing, man. Do your thing. And finally, number 1, Q and I definitely agree on number 1 quarterback, Matty Ice, man. We know this dude is a former MVP. We know that he's been a former stud in fantasy. I expect him to have a monster game against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are another team in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes that we keep hearing. So there's some things going on behind the scenes that probably a lot of people are not happy with. Maybe Tua is one of those people. Maybe some of those guys in that organization is like, why are we breaking this up? Let's try to see what we got in this young guy. But nonetheless, I do expect Matt Ryan to have a field day today versus the Dolphins. So he is my fantasy quarterback number 1 on the rankings this morning. All right, Keo, let's get to the running back position. Who you got?
Okay, coming in number 5 for me, I got James Conner at number 5. The Cardinals, they're favored by like 2 touchdowns in this game, man. Chase Edmonds, if it's PPR, I'm rolling with Chase Edmonds. He could, because he could do some damage for a lot of the teams. But Houston's allowing running backs to score 3 games in a row. James Conner has scored a touchdown 3 of his past 4 games, 5 touchdowns total in that span. I got him at number 5. Coming at number 4 for me, I'm going with J.D. McKissick, man. Antonio Gibson, he is banged up. I think McKissick could take a bigger role for Washington. He's had 8 catches for 65 yards, 10 targets last week. He's now scored at least 16 fantasy points per game in his last 3 out of his 5 games. at least 16 points in 3 of his last 5 games. I think he should continue this today in a really favorable matchup. I think Washington, they're going to playing a lot of catch up against Green Bay. The Packers, they've allowed running backs like Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris to score at least 8 fantasy points in the game. And I think the best option for McKissick is a flex option. You got to put him because homeboy Gibson is out. All right, so coming at number 3 for me, I'm taking Elijah Mitchell against the Colts, man. So Elijah Mitchell, he's been, their best running back due to injuries. So I'm going to go with Elijah Mitchell against the Colts at number 3. Number 2 for me, no Christian McCaffrey. I'm still taking Chuba Hubbard at number 2 for me. He's been playing pretty decent without McCaffrey. He scored at least 13 fantasy points a game, either 100 total yards, or a touchdown in each of those games. So I got him at number 2, and then coming at number 1 for me, I might be biased for it, but I'm going with Miles Sanders at 1 against the Raiders, man.
Oh wow!
I'm actually gonna be really tuned in and really intrigued in this game because both of my running backs are Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs. I feel like this, could be a breakout game for him. The Eagles know they need to run the damn ball. Philadelphia's crowd against Tampa Bay was definitely clear that they need to run the damn ball. He needs to get more touches. Hopefully he'll score his first touchdown of the season against the Raiders. The Raiders have allowed running backs in 5 of their 6 games this year to score. Sanders is dominating the playtime against Kenneth Gainwell, so anybody that's trying to pick up him, you could just give it up right now.
Oh,
Hopefully,
wow.
hopefully this week, Miles Sanders will give you that type of game after a huge, rough start. Based what I see from everybody from the MBS team right now, we just released the picks. Make sure you check it out on social media. A lot of people are picking the Eagles, man. A good majority amount are picking the Eagles, including me. Not the guy that's about to go right now.
Absolutely not. You bugging with that list. And just I'm glad you said that because let me put this. I should have started this show with this. So real quick, actives and inactives real quick, and then I'll give y'all the buys. Let's go with buys first. If you have a Buffalo Bill, get them out your lineup. A Cowboy out your lineup. Jaguars out your lineup. Chargers out your lineup. Vikings out your lineup. Or Steelers. All of these teams are on buys. We're not going to talk about the Browns and the Broncos because they already played. I hope you started Dearness Johnson because, golly, almost $150 and a touchdown. Great game by him. Congrats to that young man because he had a great game. But the actives and inactives. Let's start with the inactives. Sterling Shepard, Devontae Parker, Ramondre Stevenson, Tevin Coleman, C.J. Mosley, Preston Smith, and Sammy Watkins are all out on today. Get them out of your lineup. They are not going to play today. But the actives, Keo mentioned Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson will be active today. He is banged up, so a little caution behind that. But Gibson is playing on the day. I mentioned him earlier. Julio Jones is playing today, so you can go ahead and start him. Then we got Darius Slayton playing today. He is in the active lineup despite Sterling Shepard being out. Evan Ingram's going to play. John Ross is going to play. And Chris Jones is going to play today. So those are a couple of actives and inactives. Now let's get to the running back position. My apologies. Keo will probably be back with us shortly. I have James kind of like Keo at 5, but I also got Chase Edmonds at 4. I like both of these guys. I think that's going to be a big blowout. I tell you, I think it's going to be the biggest blowout of the day. So I'm going with the Cardinals, both of their running backs having a touchdown possibly in this game. I just think it gets really ugly in that game. So I'm going with both running backs at 5 and 4. Coming at number 3, I got Damien Harris. No Ramondre Stevenson. Damien Harris going up against the New York Jets. I can see him getting over 100 yards and a touchdown. He may not get over 100 yards, but I do think he gets a touchdown. But if he goes over 100, it's not going to shock nobody. I am going with Damien Harris at number 3. At number 2, I actually disagree with you on this. I got Josh Jacobs. He has Miles Sanders. I got Josh Jacobs. I think Jacobs will be very effective versus the Philadelphia front 7. And then you got Henry Ruggs, you got Hunter Renfrow, you got Darren Waller. You have to deal with that in the secondary. So I think they're gonna be more, what's the word I'm looking for? They're gonna be more concerned with the second with the passing game instead of the running game, and that's when Josh Jacobs is gonna get them for big gains. So I got Josh Jacobs at number 2. But at number 1, this guy has been phenomenal in fantasy. We don't look at him as a stud. Last week he had a stud performance. Shout out to LSU's very own man, Leonard Fournette versus the Bears. I think that the Bears are going to struggle today versus the Bucs. This could be the second biggest blowout today. So I'm going to go with Mr. Leonard Fournette on the day as far as the number 1 fantasy running back. I guess I'm going to get into the receivers since Keo is out right now. Let's go to number 5. I got Jamar Chase. This kid, shout out to LSU. Once again, I end on LSU, start back up on LSU. Jamar Chase has been nothing short of spectacular thus far. We're not going to put him in the elite category just quite yet, but he is on his way. I can't deny that. Today, I expect him to have a decent game versus the Ravens. I know it's the Ravens, but I do have Jamar Chase having a solid game on the day. Coming at number 4, I like Corey Davis. The Patriots defense is not the same as the old Patriots defense. I expect Corey Davis. He's their number 1 target in New York. Zach Wilson loves throwing the ball. I'm going with Corey Davis at number 4. At number 3, I like Michael Pittman Jr. versus Keel's 49ers. I think Michael Pittman Jr. has another, productive day versus the Niners. And the Colts, we're going to talk about that in a second, could they possibly pull an upset today? And then, coming at number 2, these guys, a lot of people would say is elite, but up until this point in this season, they haven't been. And I'm talking about A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. I'm starting both of them today. If I have these 2 guys, I think this is the highest scoring game on the day. So I'm going to start Brown and Jones in that matchup versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is not really that good, and we understand that. But number 1, and this is a stud alert for you guys. Not saying he's my stud, but it's a stud alert. I'm going Robert Woods. He's my number 1 fantasy receiver on the day. Listen, we know what Cooper Kupp brings to the table. We understand that. Matthew Stafford is playing against his former team in the Detroit Lions. I understand Jared Goff's going to be going up against his former team in the LA Rams. But I expect the Rams to win that game. And I expect Robert Woods to have a monster game. So I'm going with Robert Woods as the number 1 fantasy wide receiver on the day today. Keo, you there? I see you there. Are you ready to go? Or you need me to go on? He has it on mute, y'all. My apologies.
Oh, my bad.
You ready to go, Keo?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
You good?
Yeah. Wide receivers. My top 5 wide receivers to start for today. Number 5, I'm going with Hunter Renfrow, man. I think he's probably been one of the best flex options so far this season, man. Been really helpful for Derek Carr. I think he continues that, man. So I got him at number 5. Number 4 for me, I'm going a guy that I'm really high on ever since he came out. Michael Pittman Jr. at number 4. I think right now he has stepped into that role as a number one option. Last year he was overshadowed by T.Y. Hilton. Um, but I think Michael Pittman Jr. will continue this, man, for this season. And I got him at number 4 going against the 49ers. Number 3 for me, I'm going with Brandon Cooks, number 3 against Arizona, man. Um, Brandon Cooks is back to being a productive fantasy wide receiver. Um, Last week he had 9 catches for 89 yards, 13 targets, man. Um, 5 games this season, he has at least 7 targets. So I got him at number 3. Number 2 for me, I am going with Sterling Shepard, man.
Sterling Shepard's out.
Oh, he's out. Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, change of plans. Well, I guess my number 2 guy that I have to go with, let me see. Man, I'm going with since you said the game is going to be a shootout, I'm going with Nicole Harmon at number 2. Um Nicole Harmon, I think he's had at least 20 targets in the last 2 games, man. And he's combined for over 25 fantasy points a game in those last 2 games. I like Nicole Hartman, man. If you saying this game is gonna be a shootout, oh man, I like me some Nicole Hartman at number 2, and at number 1 for me, I'm going with Jalen Waddle at number 2. Devontae Parker's banged up, Preston Williams banged up. I'm not sure how healthy these guys are gonna be. But I think Waddle is a very good value, good option in PPR type of leagues. Jalen Waddle, he had 10 catches for 70 yards, set 2 touchdowns, 13 targets. Waddle has scored at least 16 points in the last 2 games, where Tua has finished. So this is a good matchup against the Falcons. I got Jalen Waddle coming in at number 1.
Okay. Well, let's move on to tight ends then. Who you got? Number 5 to 1.
Man, I'm waiting to see my guy Logan Thomas come back, man. But obviously,
that young go gooder.
Nah, man, you won the title already. It's my turn to win one.
Oh, come on, man.
All right. I'm gonna start off with my my tight ends to start off the week. Coming in at number coming in at number 5 for me. I'm going with Tyler Higbee at number 5. I think Higbee's due for a huge game. He scored 9 or less points 3 games in a row. Odin had 5 targets. When you got weapons like that, man, you know that's gonna happen, especially at the tight end position. So, but I do have him at number 5. I think he'll have a better game. Number 4 for me, I'm going with Ricky Seals-Jones at number 4, man. Since Logan Thomas been out, he has been combined for at least 15 targets, 9 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. He should be considered a tight end that you can start if you can't get you a solid tight end. That's the guy for you, man. Coming at number 3 for me, I'm going with Hunter Henry at number 3, man. The Jets struggled with Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurts in their last game. So I think this will be a good game for Hunter Henry. Mac Jones will definitely be looking for him in this game. I got number 3. Number 2 for me, man. Dallas Goddard. He didn't play last week due to COVID restrictions, and he should be expected to start. His value has definitely went up because Zach Ertz is not there no more. So I got at number 2. And speaking of Zach Ertz, I got Zach Ertz at number 1. Yeah, so Ertz, it couldn't have happened to a better team, a team that's on fire, on a roll, the Arizona Cardinals. This is a great matchup against the Houston Texans. Oh, and the who allowed fantasy points to tight ends in their past 3 games against Buffalo, New England, Indianapolis. Houston has allowed 4 touchdowns to tight ends, and Ertz will look to keep that streak alive. Hey, man, Kyler Murray had some 2 big games out of Max Williams until he got injured. So,
Facts.
so this is Ertz's opportunity, man. And I don't know why you traded Zach Ertz.
Hey man,
Unbelievable.
I had to reassure myself if Antonio Gibson didn't play, I needed a running back to play. I had no other running backs.
Come on, man. You got JD, man.
No, I thought I traded him.
Man. All right,
So-
go ahead.
So coming in number 5 for tight ends, I'm actually starting where Keo left off. And I'm going with Zach Ertz. I'm not as confident as Keo is. I think this game is going to be a blowout. I think they're going to force feed DeAndre Hopkins because he is going up against his former team in the Houston Texans. I think he's going to have a really good game. Obviously, I didn't mention him at wide receiver because he's an elite wide receiver. We expect him to do what he does. But I do think Zach Ertz could possibly get a touchdown in this game. But I don't think he's going to have a monster game. I think he'll have a good game. And moving forward, he could have monster days, definitely. I didn't want to trade him in the MBS league, but I'm down right now. And I got to try to get a dub, so I got traded him for a running back. A.J. Dillon, man. I hope A.J. Dillon starts panning out, gets a little bit more touches. He is getting about half the touches in Green Bay, though. All right, coming in at number 4, speaking of Green Bay, I got Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan hasn't been great this season. We understand that. But with all the teams on buys this week, you got to have a tight end option. And I'm going Robert Tonyan. They're going up against the Washington football team. They are a pretty good defense. On paper, they haven't played the greatest this season, but I do expect Robert Tonyan to get in maybe in the end zone today, maybe get a couple of catches today, and be a decent tight end on the day. So I'm going with Robert Tonyan. Coming at number 3, I've got Tyler Higbee. I'm kind of like Keo. I just think this is too much scoring going on, so I'm going to go with Higbee in this matchup versus the Lions. I just expect a really good game from the Rams. All in all. Coming in at number 2, I got Dallas Goddard as well. Dallas Goddard, no Zach Ertz there. I expect him to have a good game. To me, now becomes the number 1 target. I know this might sound crazy to some people, but the number 1 target in Philadelphia, yes, over Devontae Smith, just because he's a big target and he doesn't have to split his time with Zach Ertz any longer. So I'm going Dallas Goddard. But number 1, I got Kyle Pitts. What are we talking about? We don't have him as an elite status. So Kyle Pitts going up against the Miami Dolphins. Matt Ryan, we just said, was going to be our number 1 fantasy quarterback on the day. I expect Kyle Pitts to have a monster game versus the Miami Dolphins. I do. I think he continues the trend from 2 weeks ago, and he keeps it going. So I'm going with Kyle Pitts as my number 1 fantasy tight end. All right, Keo, let's get to the top 5 defenses on the day. Who you got? Keo muted himself, so I guess okay.
I'm back. All right, we got the top 5 defenses of today. Not much to say, but number 5 for me, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers. Number 4, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals. Number 3, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers at number 3.
We're gonna drink on that.
Hey man, they got a pretty solid defense, man. Based off of the and number 2, I'm going with the LA Rams. What's up, man?
All right, now you're back on track again.
And number 1 for me, last but not least, I'm going back to my second home. I'm going with the New Orleans Saints, man.
Okay.
Hey, but check this out, man. Geno Smith first start in week 6 at Pittsburgh. He was sacked 5 times, lost a fumble. Seattle did score 20 points, but Saints defense coming off of a bye. They have at least 2 sacks in 4 of their last 5 games. New Orleans has at least 1 interception in their past 5 games, also with a total of 9 interceptions, man. And Smith, I think it's going to be a rough game for him on Monday night. With that being said, I'm taking the Saints as the number 1 overall defense.
I'm actually not mad at you, lad. Your number 1 team. I just didn't have them that high. I got the New Orleans Saints coming in number 5. I'm with you on them. I like them. Geno Smith. If you're going up against Geno Smith, you have to start the defense. No disrespect to Geno Smith. It just is what it is. I got the New Orleans Saints as the number 5 defense that you want to start on the day. Obviously, they're not playing today. They're going to play tomorrow night. Who that? Y'all know I'm a Saints fan. Let's go. Number 4, I got the Carolina Panthers. Stephon Gilmore is in the lineup today. I expect him to make some plays versus a banged-up New York offense. We know that Kadarius Toney's out. We know Sterling Shepard's out. I missed on the Kenny Goddard. I don't know if he's playing. He might be out as well. I think he is out. And if he's out, you're talking about Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, John Ross type receivers. I think Stephon Gilmore does his thing. I think that this defense does their thing. I'm going with the Panthers at 4. Coming number 3, I got the LA Rams. I do expect the Rams to have a great game, but I just think that 2 other teams are going to have better games as far as defense is concerned. And I do think Jared Goff's going to take this game a little bit more personal than, maybe other games. Coming in number 2, I don't know how Keel don't have this team in his top 5, but that's neither here nor there. That's his opinion. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Chicago Bears. Look, Justin Fields is, maybe has a bright future, but that future doesn't start today. That future is going to be, down the line. The Bucs are going to score some points. He's going to have to keep up. Him trying to keep up with Tom Brady and company, that's going to be intimidating. I think the Bucs have a big game defensively. I actually think the Bucs run the ball well today and play great defense. I don't expect Tom Brady to have the monster game that, a lot of people may feel he will have. I'm going to say they're going to run the football with Fournette and play great defense, and they're going to be one of the best defenses on the day. But number 1, Keel, what are we doing? The return of DeAndre Hopkins. The return of J.J. Watt. This is going to be the biggest. Well, we're going to talk about it in a second. This is going to be a blowout. The Cardinals are undefeated. The Texans are in shambles right now. I got the Cardinals as the number 1 defense on the day. I think they win this game going away. I think they have a great game offensively. I think they have a great game defensively. And they are my number 1 fantasy defense on the day, the Arizona Cardinals. They will be undefeated after today. I agree. Shout out to Zach Vasquez, man. He's actually right. I actually got this going to be totally one-sided. All right, Keel. Let's go to our top 5 flex plays on the day. What we got?
My top 5 flex plays for today. Oh, I'm going with the 49ers Elijah Mitchell as a top 5 flex play for today at number 5 for me. Coming in at number 4 for me, I'm going back with a wide receiver in this game, and I'm going with Tyler Boyd as a top flex play for today at number 4 for me. Number 3, I am going with I'm going to go to a running back at number 3 for today. And I'm going with Khalil Herbert at number 3.
Okay.
I know he's playing against a tough defense with the Green Bay Packers, but I'm going with Tampa Bay. Sorry about that. Mm-hmm. But I think that he'll have a solid outing as a number 3 option to start. Number 2 for me, a flex play. I'm going with Jamal Williams, man, against the Rams. I know the game, will probably be a blowout, but I'm taking him at number 2. And coming in at number 1 to start, I will be rolling with Nicole Harmon at number 1. For me, I got DeAndre Hopkins and Tyreek Hill. if I had Nicole Hartman, I'm starting him as a top flex play. So those are my top 5 flex plays for week 7.
All right, not bad. I'll go through mine. Number 5 is a guy that I was extremely high on going into this season. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out, and he's banged up today, but he is playing. And I'm going with Antonio Gibson. I know that's fallen from the ranks because you're talking about running back, and I'm talking about flex play. I think he's a risk at this point. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Him being banged up, I'm not 100% comfortable starting him at a running back 1 or 2 position. But at a flex play, you take a chance, and you hope you hit for the stars. So I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson, even though he's banged up. He could have the potential to have a good game versus the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to go with Gibson at number 5. At number 4, I'm actually not as sold on this guy as Keo is. Keo had him as his number 1 wide receiver, but I do think he's worth the flex. I'm just not a big fan of their passing game, but I'm going Jalen Waddle. I think Waddle, obviously got the targets. We understand that. But I don't know where Tua's head is right now because he's hearing Deshaun Watson's going to be there real soon. So I'm going to say Waddle, but I'm not as confident as Q is. I'm going to say he's a good flex play, and we'll see from there. Coming at number 3, I got Chuba Hubbard. We can sit here and say, he's had some decent games, but the Panthers haven't played great the last 3 weeks. They have to play better. We need him to play better offensively. He's a good flex play, but I'm not going to say he's a great 1 or 2 running back start. So I'm going to say flex is cool. Coming at number 2 is Mr. Flex himself. And who do I call Mr. Flex? Hunter Renfrow. I think the Raiders are going to win that game. I think Derek Carr is going to have a decent game. So I'm going with Hunter Renfrow as my number 2 flex play option. My number 1 is a guy that I'm still got some reserve. And I'm going to be honest. Maybe I shouldn't. And there's going to be some people out there that's going to say, X, you wild, and this guy's a running back 1 or 2. But I'm going with Cardinals Patterson, man. I still have some reservations for him. I don't know how I feel yet. I feel like he's like a boom or bust guy, but he's been booming lately. He's definitely been booming in that offense. And I'm going to say he's my number 1 flex option because I do believe Matt Ryan and the Falcons are going to win that game today. And Matt Ryan's going to play great. So I'm going with Cardero Patterson as my number 1 flex option on the day. All right, Keo. Top 5 kickers on the day. Yes, we do kickers because we know that you can win the game based on a kicker.
Top 5 kickers. Top 5 kickers for today. Man, my top 5 kickers for today. I'm gonna start off with the Monday night game between the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks in this game, man. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going with number 5. I'm going with Randy Bullock at number 5 from the Tennessee
Titans. I like it.
Against the Chiefs. Number 4, I'm going with Nick Folk against the despicable Jets right now. Number 3, I'm going with Daniel Carlson from the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 2, I'm going with the Bengals kicker Evan McPherson at number 2.
I like him.
I think he had like 10 fantasy points in week 6 against Detroit with 2 field goals and 4 extra points. And number 1, I am going with Young Ho Koo against the Miami Dolphins. Atlanta Falcons. He's coming off a bye right now. Great matchup. He's not having the type of year that he had last year, but I think this is a good, favorable matchup for him to start, man. So those are my top 5 kickers to start.
Okay, well, I'm going to go quick. I got Matt Prater at 5, Randy Bullock at 4, Daniel Carlson at 3, Harrison Butker at 2, and Matt Gay at 1. I'm not going to take a bunch of time on this as far as kickers because I want to get to some other things. But those guys, I do expect to have great games on the day. Let's get to the waiver wire pickups. top 5 waiver wire pickups on the day. Who do you think?
Well, the week is started. Anybody should have picked up the Ernest Johnson as the
Right?
top 5 waiver wire pickup. Um, Number 4, man. I mentioned his name earlier, but I'm going with T.Y. Hilton. He's missed the first 5 games of the year, dealing with a neck injury, but he's look good. He's gonna he looked good in his return, catching 4 of his 5 targets for 80 yards against Houston. So I got him at 4. Number 3 for me. Oh man, I'm going with another Browns player, Donovan People-Jones, man. I think he'll be a very solid for anybody out there. Number 2, shame on you for trading him. I'm going with J.D. McKissick at number 2, man. I think he's a top pickup that fantasy owners should look out for. And my number 1 guy, my number waiver wire pickup, I think people should start is I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman at number 1.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with my top 5. Coming at number 5 is a guy that may not even play, but I think he's worth the risk. Excuse me. And I'm talking about Deshaun Watson. We're hearing the rumbles. It's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than later. If Deshaun Watson ends up getting traded, he's only owned in 17% of ESPN leagues. If Deshaun Watson ends up getting traded, and let's just say that he ends up playing, you got a guy that's a top 5 fantasy quarterback year in and year out. I'm not sitting there saying like I think he's going to play this year. I don't know. But I do think if you have a roster spot and you have a spot available, Deshaun Watson, somebody I would definitely pick up and just store and stash him. Let's see what happens. Coming at number 4, I got Zach Ertz. He's only owned in 62.9% of ESPN leagues. He's the number 1 tight end in Arizona, a team that has plenty of offensive weapons, MVP candidate at quarterback. I like Zach Ertz a lot. Coming at number 3, I got Darius Slayton. We talked about the Giants situation right now at wide receiver. Slayton is not a bad receiver. He's not a bad receiver at all. He's only owned in 6% of fantasy leagues. You could pick him up right now and probably start him, and they're projecting him 10 fantasy points today on the day. Coming at number 2, excuse me, is A.J. Dillon. He's owned in 62.8% of fantasy football leagues right now. But I like A.J. Dillon, man. A.J. Dillon is getting half the carries from a guy, Aaron Jones, that, is a stud in fantasy year in and year out. And for him to get half the carries, I expect that number to only grow. I think that Matt LaFleur really likes this kid. He drafted this kid, and he sees the role of this kid being the starting running back in the future. So I'm going A.J. Dillon. And number 1, I'm going with J.D. McKissick. I'm with Q on that. J.D. McKissick with a banged up Antonio Gibson. He's only owned in 58.5% of ESPN leagues. You want to go get him right now, and you possibly could start him. I mean, you should start him today in at least your flex play. So I'm going with J.D. McKissick. Okay, Keo. Now we're at the end of the show. I said at the end. We're just going to go through this. We're going to kind of help you. So let's say you're still having some concerns as far as who to start. We're going to tell y'all who we think is going to be the highest scoring game on the day, the lowest scoring game of the day, the biggest blowout, and the upset special today. So, Keo, what is your highest scoring game on today? Do I have Keo?
Oh, wait, my bad. Okay, the game that you just mentioned, and that is the Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That will be the highest scoring game. You got a lot of offensive skill players there, and I think these guys going to put points up in bunches today. So I'm going with Tennessee versus Kansas City as the highest scoring game today.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is an easy one for me. If you have anybody pretty much that's a starter in that game, you want to go ahead and start him. I actually didn't mention Nicole Harmon, but I'm not mad at Keo for starting Nicole Harmon. He is definitely worth the start. All right, Keo, what's the lowest scoring game on the day? What you think?
Yeah.
You're not too happy about starting anybody from this game because you don't know who's going to score if they're going to score that many points.
The lowest scoring game of today, man. I'm going with. Damn, it's about to get ugly in New England because I got the New York Jets and the New England Patriots
Wow.
as the lowest scoring game. It's just pitiful, man. I'm glad this game is not a Sunday night game and a Monday night game. I know people are complaining about the Niners and Colts being a Sunday night game, but I think those teams could be, really entertaining. And there's obviously, late at night in Santa Clara. So the Niners will be playing at tonight. So and then the Seahawks and the Saints, that should be a solid game outside of Russell Wilson not being there. But I think that's going to be the lowest scoring game. The Jets versus the Patriots.
That is crazy. Look, let me tell y'all, Q and I did not speak before this show. He had the same highest scoring game as me, and we had the same lowest scoring game. I got my stuff written down right here. I write everything down. The same lowest scoring game. I got the Jets and the Patriots. I think that's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be grinded out. I think a lot of mistakes are going to be made in that game. So I'm going with the Jets versus Patriots as well, Keo. I like that one. Okay, Keo, the biggest blowout on the day.
The biggest blowout of the day. Damn, I see a couple on the schedule right now, but if I had to pick the biggest blowout of the day, I'm probably going to go with the Arizona Cardinals over the Houston Texans in this game. I think that's going to be the biggest blowout of the game. People could say the Lions and the Rams, but I think Jared Goff will try to at least attempt to put on a show against his old teammates. So I got the Texans versus the Cardinals, man.
Man, me and Kio's 3 for 3 right now, and we never even spoke. I got the biggest blowout, the Cardinals over Texans. You think about it, like you said, Jared Goff's gonna fight back. Davis Mills, I mean, he's still young, still talented, but they don't even look at him as the future yet. The receiving core is not great. The running backs are people that a lot of people passed up on and said they're pretty much washed up. They're done. So I just think that, no disrespect to the Texans, but a lot of people look at their team as a lot of rejects and a quarterback that's not the guy. So I'm going Cardinals over Texans, not to mention DeAndre Hopkins returns, J.J. Watt returns to play a former team. I think that's the biggest blowout. Oh, we got a cameo from Keo. We got a cameo. So before we end the show, okay, Keo, the upset special. Who gets upset today?
The upset special for today, man, it's the game that we picked earlier, man. I honestly think it's gonna be the Philadelphia Eagles knocking off the Las Vegas Raiders today, man. I'm confident. I like the play of Jalen Hurts lately, man. Miles Sanders expected for a huge game. Go Eagles, man. My Cowboys ain't playing, so go Eagles, baby.
Well,
Woo!
we were 3 for 3 up until that point. We will not be 4 for 4 because I do not have that as the upset special. My upset special, I mean, I guess it's not really an upset in a sense, but I got the Jets over the Patriots.
Oh,
I think
wow.
the Jets
That's
beat
not
the
no
Patriots.
upset.
I think the Jets are bad. I think the Patriots, we've seen them compete with the Cowboys. We've seen them compete in these games. The Patriots have higher hopes than the Jets, but I think the Jets get them today. For whatever reason, I think the Jets pull up the upset, so I'm going with Jets over Patriots because I do not view Colts over 49ers as an upset. I know some people would. I don't view it as that. Okay, Keo, give me one guarantee on the day. One guarantee. Whether it's somebody not scoring, whether it's somebody scoring, whatever you want to guarantee. What can you guarantee fantasy owners today? Your stuff's on mute.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, I guarantee that DeAndre Hopkins will have at least 5 receptions and a touchdown.
I like that. I think that is definitely, possible. I'm not gonna go that way, even though I definitely like that one. Robert Woods will score a touchdown today. Robert Woods will score a touchdown on today. No doubt about it in my mind. They're going to try to stop Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods is going to score somewhere along the line. So I'm going with my guarantee is Robert Woods scoring. Okay, Kiel, last but not least, everybody's favorite, everybody loves this part of the show, the stud, dud, and sleeper of the week. Who is Kiel's sleeper of the week?
Okay, my sleeper of the week. Man, my sleeper of the week, I'm gonna go with oh man. I'm gonna go with Miles Sanders as my sleeper of the week, man. Yeah, man. Huge game for Miles Sanders today, man. I think he'll give fantasy owners over his average, which is, he's projected to have 13. I think he'll go over that. So I got Miles Sanders as my sleeper of the week.
Okay, I had two. I'm going to just say both, but only because I want to point one out. I had Van Jefferson because I think Van Jefferson's a big, big, big sleeper. But I'm going to say this. I'm going Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff will fight in this game. I think Jared Goff will compete in this game. I think they're going to score some points. DeAndre Swift has been very good in fantasy this year. Williams has definitely been solid. I think that Goff and the Lions come up with some type of game plan that's going to at least combat what the Rams are doing. He's going to take this one personal. So I'm going with Jared Goff as my sleeper of the week. Okay, Keel, who is Keel's dud of the week?
Let's see, man. My dud of the week will be my dud of the week will be give me a second. I'm trying to
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
First. I have, and not because he's going up against my team, because I think that, I love this receiver. I got DK Metcalf as the dud of the week. I think that you look at Geno Smith and you think to yourself, he's going to get Marshawn Lattimore. He's been tweeting back and forth with Shannon Sharp. He's been going at it with people. I think that DK Metcalf actually has a bad game this week. He will not have 10 fantasy points. I have him in multiple leagues. I hope I'm wrong. I'm still starting him because he's DK Metcalf. But I think DK Metcalf struggles this week. I'm going DK Metcalf as my dud of the week.
Okay, my dud of the week. I'm going with Derrick Henry as my dud of the week.
Wow! Oh my God!
Hey, check this out, man. I think this game will be so much of a shootout that they're gonna abandon the running game. And I think the Chiefs will do a decent, good enough job where they're going to hold Derrick Henry in check. Derrick Henry will have under 100 yards rushing in this game.
Hell no. Hell no. I don't agree with that at all.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Okay. I'm going big in this thing, man.
Hey, DK Metcalf, you and him. Okay, that's two big names in fantasy. All right, last one. Keel, who is your stud of the week?
Okay, my stud of the week, man. I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins as my stud of the week, man. He's going against his old team. I know he got something to prove there, man. I mean, I don't think he got nothing to prove, but I think he wants to make a statement, send a message to his old team, and obviously because they traded him. But I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins as my stud of the week.
Well, we both going with people on their former teams. My sleeper was Goff, but my stud is Matthew Stafford. I think he takes it personal. I think he looks at the weapons he has. He has Cooper Kupp. He has Robert Woods. He has Van Jefferson. He has Deshaun Jackson. They have weapons galore. I think Tyler Higbee, who we mentioned, I think there's too many weapons out there. I think he takes this game personal. I think Matthew Stafford is the MBS, True X's stud of the week. Look for 300-plus yards and at least 3 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford will be making another case for his MVP run. Woo! Well, with that being said, Keel, let's get to these shout-outs, man.
Yo, man, shout out to you. I'm glad to be back on Startem Sitem. Shout out to the whole brand, and make sure you go follow us on all platforms. Make sure you go subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Duminati TV channel, and follow us on all, like I said, on all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then obviously our YouTube channel also. But with that being said, man, we'll see you guys later this week, and we'll see what happens in fantasy football.
Man, look, God, please, fantasy God, let me get this dub this week. I am struggling out here. I need this. I need that home with me. I need that home with me. And it's going to start today, hopefully. Oh, shout out to Shuck, man. I'm playing against the best team in the league right now. It's not looking good right now. But we going to fight. We came to fight. Sleeves up, boy. Oh, with that being said, look, if you win today, if you lose today, you have nobody but to blame but yourself. But if you win, like Drake said, man, thank us later. This has been the Startem Center Fantasy Football Show. That's Keel. I'm True X the Sports Junkie, and we are out. Peace.